So in today's video, we're going to go through price action chart and how to read it and how to follow price action rules to help us identify high probability setups. The structure that is in front of me is resembling a trend range. It has trend range like characteristics. Now, what are these characteristics? Well, we're swinging up and down through the exponential moving average. This is a 21 bar EMA, just a supportive indicator. But at the same time, we have series of lower highs and lower lows. So I have two conflicting patterns working here. This is a trend range like structure, but there's a bearish bias. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to wait until market gives me more confirmation so I know exactly what kind of structure I'm trading. Okay, and okay, we're breaking lower and prices are going to the downside structure. So okay, so at this point on, I can safely reanalyze the structure. I can see that we keep creating multiple lower highs, multiple lower lows. We can see that EMA keeps rejecting prices every single time, and at this point on, there is no confusion about the bias. So the bias is bearish. Now, as a price action trader, I need to identify a pattern because there's always a pattern working. And if I want to read the structure correctly and to anticipate high probability setup, the right one, I want to make sure I am on the right side of the market. So this was the pattern I identified. I can put it at the very bottom here, but this would make this channel a little bit too wide. And chances are that we're not going to make it all the way down to the support. So what I did, I just cut it a little bit short here to make it fit a little bit tighter. It doesn't really matter. You can play both ways, but I want to make it a little bit tight because I don't think prices will go all the way down there because this would make it too wide. So at this point on, I got my structure down, so that's okay. I identified the pattern and the bias. At this point on, I need to identify high probability setups because I cannot sell randomly at these lows. I want to sell smartly. And I want to sell a high probability setup. Now, what is going to be a high probability setup? High probability setup is going to form at the key entry point and it's going to be a form of a two-legged pullback. Notice here we have perfect representation of form two-legged pullback. First entry short, second entry short, two-legged pullback played out. First leg up, second leg up, first attempt to sell, second attempt to sell. Second attempt to sell is a high probability setup if we combine it with the right context and if the uptrend played out, because the correction needs to play out, and if it's at the key entry point. Okay, so we are working sideways. Okay, I'm going to draw the channel. Uptrend has a new high, which is giving me right now information that the bullish correction played out, and we have second entry short. So this right here is a high probability setup. Notice first leg up, second leg up. Now this would have been a perfect high probability setup because it formed at the key entry point, but notice how big this bearish bar is and how low it formed. So this would have been a great setup had it been a little bit smaller. I was preparing my order to sell this setup here, but it formed quite far down. Risk is a little bit too large, so I skipped. If you have a small signal bar, great setup. You know, this is, I'm almost marking it. There's nothing wrong with price action perspective taking this. It's just a little bit too big, so it is a little bit more risky. For that reason, it is a little bit more aggressive, but a great setup price action wise. And notice prices are correcting, so what I need to do, redraw this correction, and we have a second entry short possibly triggering below this bearish bar. If this triggers, can I go short here? I cannot, because as long as this option is in play, I cannot really take a sell. It is way too aggressive and it can fail. Okay, there is no trigger. I don't want to sell. We're still above EMA, not a great signal bar, looking quite bullish. And notice we are pushing to the upside. Okay, so as I can see now, the prices are breaking to the upside. I see that this is the first break of this downtrend. So I'm instantly thinking that we may get new extreme at some point. We may reverse, but my first thought when I'm watching this structure is following the trendline rule. So I expect for prices to create new low. And once I see this important key level, a lot of times prices will go back, test the key level again. And at this point, I'm thinking if we're going to test it and sellers are going to come into the market and sell here, if we're going to see good bearish momentum, we can consider this bullish correction over. And this is happening. Okay, so this looks like a first leg up, second leg up, larger two-legged pullback, uptrend played out with a break new high, indicating this bullish correction played out. Key level is holding, and if we push below EMA and get a high probability setup, I'm going to expect new extreme. So from the overall perspective, we are bearish. Okay, and we have a lower high confirmation setup. Now this right here is a lower high confirming the visual two-legged pullback, and this bounce off this key entry point. Now I'm going to mark it. It is a little bit more aggressive. I was ready to sell here. I was hoping for this bar closing a little bit more bearish. The signal bar has still a bit of a bullish body. The bearish stim is great, but since we expect the new low, this is a decent setup to take a chance here. I skipped because I really wanted to see a little bit better signal bar. At this point on, if I expect to get a good lower high, but it didn't form that well, what is the next high probability setup that I expect? Because we still need to get new extreme. Well, I expect a failed second entry long. Because in downtrend, I count for second entry shorts, but at the same time, I can count for second entry long that are going to fail because buyers are going to take second entry long under the wrong context. So we can take advantage of these orders because they're taking the counter trend setup. And we get a failed second entry long right here. But notice how it formed. Signal bar is not great. Stim at the bottom. We pushed above EMA slowly. You know, we didn't even take higher and reverse down. I really wanted to see second entry short. This worked. Once again, great setup context-wise, but didn't really form that well. All of these three setups are really great context-wise from price action rules, but signal bars really weren't that great. But notice perfect price action. Two-legged pullback. This is holding. A new extreme was formed. So at this point on, what do I expect? I expect reversal or just a correction. I'm no longer looking for sells because according to rules, we form new extreme. And at this point on, I need to pause my short setups. Okay, we're working higher. Okay, this is quite bullish. And this is no longer proportionate. This move down is way too big compared to this initial uptrend. So what I'm going to do, make it a little bit wider like this. Okay, and we have first break of this uptrend. So what do I expect? I expect for prices to create new extreme. I want to buy a second entry long at this point. Notice how strong this bullish move was. I want to see second entry long to like a pullback. Okay, get a first entry long. Can I get a second entry long? I can't get a second entry long. Okay, and at this point I can see EMA flattening, and we have what looks like to be a potentially small little trend range. But we have new extreme for this uptrend, which is telling me that we're no longer looking to buy because uptrend played out. I'm just playing right now the trend range rules. And notice we have new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Since the uptrend played out with the break new high. And we're playing the small trend range rules, which means I need to sell high, buy low. This is a great high probability setup following the rules. Look at the signal bar, uptrend played out, first entry short, second entry short. At the key entry point, in trading ranges, we sell high, great high probability setup. And market is pushing to the downside. So I'm going to redraw the short and downtrend. This downtrend is in play. So I expect for prices to give me a second entry short at this point on, probably at the key entry point at the EMA. Because I need new low. Can we get second entry short? And we can't really get second entry short. And wow, notice how strong this move down was. So when I was watching this today, this felt way too bearish. And I was extending my channel because this really didn't really feel that weak. This was quite strong bearish move down. And if I combine it with the overall bearish bias we had during today's session, because we were trading down for the most part, uptrend played out, such a big move down. Let me draw the channel a little bit wider and see if it gets confirmed. Okay, you can see it's getting a little bit confirmed here. I can tweak it just a little bit here to make it work like this. And you're going to work with these channels as you're trading. You're going to constantly tweak it a little bit here and there. Important thing is to be close. You don't have to be perfect. Notice I'm drawing the correction here. And we have new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. So this right here is second entry short. Break, attempt to create new high, but market cannot create new high. Why? Because EMA keeps holding, and this downtrend, which got confirmed here, needs to get new extreme. Okay, this is a great bearish bar. This was actually my first trade for the day, high probability setup. This is once again the two-legged pullback, the second entry short we were looking for on the way down to the left. We still have a bearish downtrend. We still need new extreme. This is the first close outside, so we expect retest of the latest extreme. I took it with the limit order a little bit deep here. They came back from my runner and market continue working lower. So at this point on, we have a break new low. So we're not looking for sells no more. Can I look for reversal though? Not really. And with time, you will develop a gut feeling instinct for analyzing the structure. Because even though rules say that we have a break new low, this is too early for me to start looking for longs at this point on. Why? Because the bias at this market was quite bearish. Uptrend played out, strong reversal back down, multiple lower highs, lower lows. So I can't really look for a reversal just yet. There may be a chance for another legs down. We only get high low here. And notice we have lower high. We have a new low. First entry short, pullback, second entry short. And this right here is lower high, confirmation of this second entry short. Uptrend played out with the break, attempt to create new high. The reason why this lower high is not the greatest, it's because notice it is still 7 bars stacked next to each other. EMA flattened. It feels part of this congestion. I would want to see breakout pullback. You know, great single bar. Tempting setup because we have a close outside new extreme. But you know, it was so congested. We have a new high, first entry long. I was looking for failed second entry long. Can I get a failed second entry long? Can't really get a failed second entry long, and market is pushing lower and is strongly reversing back up. And notice this is quite a strong momentum. Notice the difference between this push above EMA and this tiny lackluster move. You can see the difference in momentum. Price action is telling you and giving you all the information. This momentum is tiny and weak. This is decisive, strong push above EMA. And the downtrend had a first break to a new low, second larger leg to a new extreme. We get a new low, first entry short, second entry short, failure. But this is a bearish bar. I can't really go long. And notice this key level is coming into play again. And notice I identified this key level right after we get a break, new extreme. Because according to rules, I expect correction or reversal. So you can see I can identify it here. And it's coming into play this entire time. Whoops, we kind of push strongly, but there's no hype about this setup anyway. And as we're pushing to the upside, just like here, I'm analyzing the momentum. And if the momentum is strong, there's a chance for wider pattern. I'm just going to look for possibility for wider pattern. And it's getting confirmed here and even here. Okay, so the wider pattern is in play. We're closing outside of the channel. This bullish trend is working. So according to rules, I expect new high. I'm looking for second entry long. Can I get a second entry long? I can't really get second entry long, but we're pushing back above EMA. Okay, so uptrend still needs new high. What is the setup at this point that I can take advantage of this bullish momentum? Well, high low, confirmation of the second entry long, but it never really formed at all. Okay, and here we have interesting setup because we have micro double bottom which resets the count, and this is technically just a high low, but we can treat this without the count reset as a first entry short, second entry short failure. And uptrend still needs to get new extreme, and notice first leg down, second leg down. So while the uptrend needs to get new high, we have a larger two-legged pullback where above EMA, tiny little shortened channel is working to the upside, so you can combine key entry point. I will mark it. When I was watching this live, I was unsure because it was too sideways. EMA got so flat, I wasn't really sure. But this is such a nice signal bar closing above EMA, and uptrend needs to get new high according to rules. You know, decent setup. Market finally created new high for the uptrend. And by the way, can I redraw brand new uptrend like this? I cannot, because I cannot draw the uptrend for the lag that created new extreme. I could be drawing these channels indefinitely, and I would be looking for new extremes indefinitely. So major two-legged pullback played out. Uptrend finally has new high. So I'm expecting for push below EMA and a high probability setup. Okay, I'm watching for second entry short at the EMA at this point on. I want to see two-legged pullback at the EMA. But prices are pushing lower without any decent setup. Okay, and at this point on, I need to take a step back and analyze the structure. Notice another major swing high that is lower than this. Each major swing high after uptrend played out with a break new high, uptrend played out with a break new high is lower than the previous one. So this is giving me information that we have bearish bias. And since we have bearish bias on a consistent basis, there's possibility that there is a larger bearish downtrend. And you can see how many confirmations I'm getting with this bearish bias. And this is a nice downtrend working lower. So this point on, this major downtrend has a first break. So I expect new extreme according to trendline rules. Notice there are channels within the channels, but you can never go wrong drawing these channels, and with time price action is giving you bigger picture and you can adapt. Notice all of these downtrends created new extremes, and now we have a major downtrend which right now we recognize because we get the more information from the price action, and I expect new extreme again. Notice the two-legged pullback played out. So no longer the buyers are in control. I'm not looking for wider pattern. We have a two-legged pullback and combined with the bearish bias, and that's enough for me to still lean more bearish. Okay, we were somewhere around here. Okay, we're finally correcting. I'm looking for a second entry short at the EMA. Okay, first entry short is looking good. Great signal bar. Can get a second entry short. No high probability setup. Okay. Well, but at this point I have a break new low, so I can't really even look for second entry short most likely. Let's see what can happen. And another push down. Okay, this is quite bearish. Okay, so this is confirming that we may get new extreme. And now I have break, couple X to new extreme, but if we're going to reach new extreme of the major channel, there's probably a bigger downtrend working lower. Because this tiny downtrend has multiple X to a new low. So if we're going to push lower, which we should, there may be a possible downtrend like this. First entry short, big bullish bar, second entry short. Now, can I take this setup? I really don't want to take this setup. Why? Because uptrend needs to get new high. Notice, big bullish bar rejection. This is odd. We are at this support that is showing a reaction again, and I don't want to sell after such a big bullish bar. So if I'm going to combine the fact that we are right at this support, after big bullish bar, uptrend doesn't have new extreme, you know, this is not a great short. If you took it, I can see why, but you're kind of closing your eyes and hoping this will work, because you can sense that something is off here. The support is here, big bull bar, we have quite a strong bullish leg, so we may get the push up. You know, this is not a great setup. And notice EMA is getting these bars, and we have 6 bars stacked next to each other, so this is getting congested. Multiple reasons to skip it. I don't really want to take it. In fact, now we have felt second entry short, which is, I'm going to mark it as a more aggressive setup. If you're a beginner trader, you don't want to worry about this setup because you want to stick to overall bearish bias. But advanced trader can predict this trap, what happened here. It's such a great bullish bar, the support holding, it was a quick easy scalp, and notice now we have double trap. Because everybody who went long too early got trapped, and everybody who went, everybody who went short too early got trapped, and everybody who went long too early got trapped. Because if we consider this from a swing perspective, downtrend needs to get new low, but this is way too big. Your stop loss has to go even one tick above this bullish bar. So this is way too big of a setup. Double trap, context wise it makes sense. Finally we have new extreme for the uptrend, and it looks like a nice two-legged pullback in bearish bias, but the setup was too big and you don't get no good lower high. I don't see any good setup here. This is a horrible looking second entry short, but it managed to work. Okay, you have a new extreme for the main downtrend. I'm going to redraw the uptrend. Okay, break new high. Okay, so there's no bullish momentum, and we get a second entry short. Okay, you have a second entry short, flat EMA congestion. I want to see a lower high confirmation setup that would confirm this sketchy second entry short. Never, and notice, way too congested, never really formed. Okay, and what's happening here? Okay, so once again, additional information from the structure. I can see break new low of the main channel. However, the structure is creating lower highs, lower lows still, and uptrends are very weak. So there is a chance that the bearish bias is so strong that we may get continuation of the trend down. That can happen. The fact that I'm going to be paying attention to is rejections of EMA and how strong the bullish correction is going to be. If I'm going to get very strong bullish reversal, something like this that will negate the bullish trend, the bearish trend, I'm gonna switch the gears. I'm gonna be thinking bullish. However, if I'm going to see weak bullish trends like this with consistent rejections of EMA, that's the enough indication that we are in a bearish bias. And notice how weak the market is getting, first entry short, and notice, you see, more confirmation of the bearish momentum. Okay, I'm going to redraw the uptrend now. I'm drawing it wider because we were trending lower for quite some time, so there's a chance we will finally push higher. New high, first entry long, tiny little second entry long. This one was very tempting because you expect new high for this uptrend. It worked for a scalp, little quick easy scalp, but it's better to focus on the bearish bias. You have a felt second entry long here, but it's above EMA. You can still get a temp for a new high. I can't really take it. Okay, but we're pushing below EMA, and this is good. Okay, since we're pushing below EMA, I'm going to play the main bias. I'm going to look for a lower high confirmation setup of the felt second entry long. I'm not looking for double trap. EMA is supposed to be holding because we are in an overall bearish structure. Once we push below EMA, I forget about new high, it may be trapped, and I'm looking for a lower high. And we get lower high here. Confirmation of the failed second entry long here. A little bit aggressive because above EMA, but advanced trader can understand what's going on here. Okay, we're pushing lower. Very strong bearish momentum. I'm going to redraw the channel. Okay, we have first entry short. I would like to see second entry short. High probability setup. Only first entry short. Okay, prices are working higher. I'm going to redraw the uptrend again. We have a new high, first entry long, pullback. Am I looking for second entry long or second entry long to fail? Well, given the fact that we kept working below EMA for such a long time and bias is really bearish, I'm leaning more towards failed second entry long. Even though we don't have new high, that's okay. I'm playing the main bias. Okay, we have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. Okay, can we get a trigger below this bar right here so I can go short on the failed second entry long? No trigger. So unfortunately, I have to cancel the order. And failed second entry long trigger below this horrible bar. No real way for me to enter. And there's pretty much no good high probability setup. First entry short here. And this point on market is closing. So once the structure is offering you weak bullish corrections without a strong one, you see multiple EMA rejections and you see failed second entry longs working, you still look for lows even though you have break and a new low. Okay, it's very common if the downtrend is strong, you're going to keep creating multiple new extremes. And also notice the market likes to move in pairs of twos. There are these two-legged pullbacks all over the place. That's a high probability setup. Notice market always follows the trendline rule, and here the price action rules really work perfectly. Break of a channel, two-legged pullback, test the key level, and two legs to a new extreme and reversal. So these price action rules work great. With time you will develop instinct where you will want to widen the channel, where you feel that the bias is a little bit stronger, and you can see two-legged pullbacks working, and then the stronger downtrend started. So I hope the video was helpful, educational, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Good luck.